Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Am I audible and visible?
Yeah, of course. How
Perfect.
have you been?
I have been good. Thank you so much for asking. How have you been?
I've been doing great as well. Thank you for asking.
Right. So, what was your routine like for today? What did you do before coming to the class?
Just like a normal day, I
Mm-hmm.
watched some podcasts and spent time on my improvement.
Mm-hmm.
And after the session, I will move to taking classes for my students. So it's been normal
Okay.
day. Yeah.
Okay. Pretty
And
normal.
how about you?
I'm also doing good. Thank you so much for asking. It's kind of normal. I came back home because we have Durga Puja right now.
Yeah.
So I'm just gearing up for that. I came back home right now. I'm relaxing a little, and the next week would be a little chaotic and fun. So just looking forward to that.
Okay. And how's the
Yeah.
celebration going on?
So right now nothing
Celebration
has
of Durga Puja.
started. Everyone is just doing the last minute shopping, and I mean the panels have opened and everything, but the pujo has not started. So it will start next
Okay.
week. So from then everyone would be out in the streets.
So, like many houses celebrate it for the whole 10 days. They offer the puja for 9 days and then the 10th day Dashara. And
Uh,
somewhere people offer
yeah,
puja only on particular days like Ashtami and Navami. So,
yeah. No,
what's trend
the
at your
thing.
home?
Yeah, so for Bengalis, the pujo actually starts on the sixth day, which is Shoshti, and from the
Um,
sixth day to Dashami, which is the last day when the Visarjan or the emulsion happens. I mean immersion, not emulsion. Immersion happens. Till then, the thing continues. All days you have different pujo. I mean different
yeah.
offerings to the
Yeah,
goddess.
it's not like a certain rule that it starts from that day. I mean, more
Hmm.
or less, it's similar everywhere, either in Bengal or Bihar or other places.
Yeah,
It's just that some people places that kalash on first day and then worship for whole 9 days, and at others, those who do not place that kalash, they
yeah.
celebrate the last 3 and 4 days.
Yeah. That's there. I mean, that's how it
Yeah,
goes.
right,
But on Ashtami is the day on which everyone offers offerings
right,
collectively.
of course,
Yeah. Yes, which we call Anjali. And apart from that, yeah, I mean, but for example, for Gujaratis, Navratri is a 10-day celebration. So from the first day, I mean, fasting and everything begins. So for
all right.
Bengalis, that's not the ritual. We have a different kind of ritual. So yeah, I
Okay.
think that's.
So while we were talking about all these things,
Hmm.
one thing that I recalled
Hmm.
that maybe a few years ago,
Hmm.
one of my niece asked me the 9 forms of Durga,
Oh.
and I was not able to recall. And
Yeah.
then he said that this is the trend because of Google. We have not been able to learn anything. The
Hmm.
moment we think of searching for anything, just we Google it and then get all the
Yeah.
details, and that is why we have become lazy in terms of remembering. what
That's right.
what do you think on that?
I mean, kind of, yes, of course, because I also don't know the nine forms of Durga, but I also think that it also depends on whether you are interested in mythology as a person. Like I am. I'm very interested in
No, no,
mythology,
no,
but again, I
not
don't.
exactly about the 9 forms.
Yeah, I don't
I
know. I
just
know about one
give
or
that
two maybe.
as a reference, but
Hmm.
my question is, what do you think about this trend that because we are able to find anything on our fingertips,
Yeah.
we have become a bit lazy, or we
Hmm.
do not remember things that easily as earlier.
Hmm. That's right. I mean, yes, in a way, you might say that can be true because, well, I think we are just we think that everything is within our hands, so we don't really need to know everything. So that,
All
of
right.
course, is a bad thing in a way because we don't remember stuff as well. But I don't know what to do, how to go back from here in a way as well, because what do you do? What you cannot really take away the phone from people's hands, right? So What do you generally do?
Definitely.
What is your idea? What can we
Uh,
do?
and on that question, to
Hmm.
some extent, that is also a good thing because
Hmm.
no matter how much we remember, there
Hmm.
are plethora of knowledge. There
Right.
is plethora of
Yes.
knowledge. So
Yes.
how can we remember everything? So we need to work only on the things that are relevant to us, that
Hmm.
are relevant to our line of action. So in
Yes.
that way, we can argue that as well. And I forgot your question. Could you repeat, please?
You forgot what?
I forgot what did you ask.
No, I was asking that, like, how do you, like, obviously this is a advantage. This is an advantage that you talked about, but how do we even go back from here, right? Because the phones are in our hands already. The network is over there. You cannot really go back from here and say that, oh, let's snatch away the phones or let's take away the network, right? We have to deal with what we already have in our
All
hands.
right,
We have to look at the advantages and maybe just overcome the disadvantages as and when we go forward. But otherwise, I don't get how we can probably just go to where we were before, where people thought and people had their own ideas or they remember
definitely,
stuff.
of course.
Right.
Yeah, it's next to impossible, of
Yes,
course.
yes, absolutely. So that's what I was thinking. Yes. So apart from that, we also have a session topic of the day that we are going to talk about. But before that, we can do some random spontaneous speaking. You can give me topics as well if you want, and then we can go from there.
Uh, even I do not have anything in my mind. I am quite blank,
Hmm.
especially after a break. I'm taking a session today. So yes, it's on you. You may take it forward.
Right. Okay. Yes. Makes sense. All right. So I understand completely, but then in the last part, your voice got a little cracked, so I could not understand the last part. Could you? I understood the first part. Could you just repeat that part once more?
Oh,
Yeah.
I simply said that we can move ahead with anything that is on your mind.
Okay, okay, right. Okay, that part. Yeah, I heard that. Yes, so we can. I was thinking that maybe we can talk a little bit about, I don't know, since we are talking about festivals, maybe we can talk a little bit about festivals today, about the cultural heritage of festivals that we have, especially in India, and also maybe look at the disadvantages that big celebrations cause us. So maybe you can tell me something about what you feel about the advantages and disadvantages of big festivals.
Uh, if Well, there are many advantages because if we are connected to our culture, it gives a sense of belonging and we can relate ourselves, who we are, how should we live. And in that term, we have a lot to learn. We experience a lot.
Hmm.
If we are following all these things, it's good enough to have a better relationship with our forefathers, our older ones, because they believe and they expect this behavior from us. So that is good
Yeah.
thing. And when it comes to disadvantage, I can only think about pollution to certain extent because
Right.
whenever we
Right.
think about we uh, we think religiously and we do not think on these aspects maybe in terms of Durga Puja if we talk about the
Yeah.
immersion, so we
Yes.
generally immerse the statues in river. Here
Yeah.
we immerse in river Ganga, no matter how much restrictions are there from the government side. So
Hmm.
even if the government side has imposed some restrictions, the locals object that and they immerse the statues in Ganga because that is a holy thought and that has been trained. So yeah, these are the disadvantages I think.
Right. Okay. Okay. Um. You. Yeah. Hmm. We're seeing something.
Basically, I if I talk about other disadvantages, I cannot recall anything in particular.
Okay. Okay.
Anything that is related to environment and yeah, that's all.
Yeah. Do you think like the advantages are more than the disadvantages?
Definitely,
Okay.
because
Why do you
we are
think so?
able to connect with ourselves
Right.
and we get a sense of what should be done, how it should be done, and we get a kind of peace as well.
Right.
So whenever we offer these pujas, we definitely get some time to enjoy with our family. That is the plus
Yeah,
point, especially in this
that's
era.
true. Hmm.
So yeah, these are the advantages, and they are much better than the disadvantage, especially if we exclude the pollution part, because we definitely have to take care of that. We can't have a blind eye towards that.
Right. Okay, I understand where you're coming from. And what do you in general think of culture preservation? Because a lot of us are probably also forgetting our roots, forgetting our culture. How important do you think it is in today's time?
It depends. It depends because what I believe that we should always keep humanity at first. Even though we talk about cultural uh, importance, one thing that I do not believe in, that no matter how religious a person is,
Hmm.
when it comes to uh, follow such tips and tricks in real life, they forget.
Yeah.
Only while offering puja, they will feel or they will behave that way. But when it comes to general life, they are not able to follow the principles of these cultures,
Right.
these cultural values. So that is the most
Right.
important thing. If we are able to follow that and behave like a true human being, then of course it is a big plus for us. Otherwise, it is hollow. That's what
Yeah.
I.
Okay, makes sense. Yes. Okay. And you might also know that UNESCO gives a lot of this, this appellations or these awards. Like, for example, Durga Puja was acknowledged as a cultural. I don't exactly remember the term that they use, but something cultural, something by UNESCO. How important do you think it is for India to get global recognitions like this? Do you think it's important for us, or do you think it's fine even if we don't get them? We should still preserve them as much as possible. You have gotten stuck. Hello.
First of all, I'm not aware of the fact
Hello,
that,
you've gotten.
that you shared, and I think,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm audible.
Yes, you're audible
So,
now. Yes. Yes.
what I'm trying to say is, whatever you shared about UNESCO, uh, I'm not aware of that fact, and I
Right.
feel whether you're recognized globally for this,
Hmm.
that hardly makes any sense to me, for sure,
Right.
because it's all about us. If we are doing something, it's for our own peace and our own
Yeah.
belongings. So whether
Right.
someone else recognize it or not, it hardly makes any sense. But if they recognize, it's of course a win-win situation, because we we are social animal, so we tend to know about others culture as well. If we know about them, they know about us. It's good thing, because that will make a good impact to interact with each other, to know more about each other. So in that way, of course, it is a good thing.
Right. Okay. I completely understand. That was a very sensitive, mature thing. All right. On that note, we can go to our topic for the day, which is a little different from what we have been discussing, but it's about environment and green accommodations. Right?
Okay,
So I would like to ask you first about whether you at all know about this green accommodation thing. What is this, or what do we generally
green
say?
green revolution or what?
Green accommodation.
Green accommodation.
Yeah.
Well, this is new term for me, but
Right.
I can guess
Yeah.
it's all about a accommodation where
Hmm.
we focus more on greenery, of course.
Yeah.
We plant trees, not. I mean, we plant trees and
Hmm.
saplings, and we take
Hmm.
care of them to such
Hmm.
extent that it gives us some greenery and some fresh air. That's what I think.
Right. Okay. Okay. Now, one thing that I'd like to just maybe correct in this is you're almost correct. It's just that green accommodation refers to an environmentally sustainable hotel or accommodation
Okay.
that has important environmental that has made certain important environmental contributions. So the thing that you said that we do it in our own house, of course we do it in our own houses, but hotels also do it, and we choose those hotels that have made certain significant contributions to environmental changes.
Yeah.
Okay,
So that
so
was just a guess that if it is
yeah,
green
yeah, I understand,
accommodation,
and you're
it's
almost
not
correct.
about, yeah,
Yes.
it's not about only home. It's about
Yes.
all the buildings, of course.
Yes, yes, absolutely. But it can also be considered in terms of the home structure that you are talking about. So I would like to know from you if you have ever lived in a home like this, which has a lot of greenness around it, a lot of sustainable means and measures that have been adopted. Have you ever lived in any home like that?
I have
Any?
not lived in because since my childhood I have been living in Patna,
Okay.
though my village town is in the district of Nawada. That is called, my village is called Tiyar. So my house in the village is something like this. It is full of uh, green surroundings, the trees and saplings and all types of other plants are there. So as a kid, I used to visit there almost every year. But after I crossed teenage,
Hmm.
I have hardly visited there. Maybe uh, 4 or 5 times in last 10 years.
Okay. Okay. Hmm. Makes sense.
So that
All
is
right.
the only thing that I can recall when I hear this word, green accommodation.
Okay. Now, how have you contributed towards building a better environment?
That's a nice question, a big one, of course, because we generally talk a lot about what should be done, but when it
Yes.
comes to ourselves, we hardly forget that what have we contributed. And in that sense, I cannot think of anything else than watering plants and taking care of plants at my home. And to some extent, uh, yeah, that's all. That these are
Right.
the regular activities that we do generally, and I cannot think anything else apart from this.
Right. Right. Yeah. Makes sense. Now, imagine you are the environment minister of India. Can you give me a speech on the changes that you would like to bring about in the existing environmental policies of India?
Uh, for that, first of all, I have to know what are the environmental policies.
Yeah.
So
But
I
even
cannot
from a very naive point of
say,
view, what do you think? What
yeah.
are the
But
changes?
as per hypothetical condition, I can think of what are the changes that we should make. And in that sense, I think first of all, we should plant more trees. We should focus on afforestation,
Hmm.
reforestation as well. And we should focus more on uh, solar energy. Like if we can reduce the number of petroleum vehicles and exchange them to electric vehicles, that would also be a good way. What else?
Hmm.
Uh, I'll have to make a
Right.
point on this. This is a really good question. I'll
Yeah,
have to
I
think.
understand
Yeah,
that completely. But yeah, a lot of us are not actually aware of the environmental policies, right? We know about the other policies, maybe the economic policies, this, that. We have an opinion about that, but somehow, for some reason, we don't have a concrete opinion about the environment, which
yeah.
is wrong, right? We should, because that's what we are dealing with. So, yeah. Now, do you think is eco-friendly tourism becoming an it thing these days? Is it getting a boost globally? If yes, why do you think it is becoming such a hyped up thing, eco-friendly tourism. What do you understand by that, and why do you think the popularity suddenly?
uh, especially after COVID, maybe because
Right.
after COVID
Yes.
we have been focusing more on our health and environment as well, and in that term, we have been more concerned about environment, and in that way, no matter what we do, we try to relate it with environment as well. That if we can contribute something to environment, and because of that, this term or this trend has been in on boom, I guess.
Right. Okay. Makes sense. Now, have you become a part of this bandwagon ever where you are kind of, you have hopped on this eco-friendly tourism bandwagon, and you're kind of going on and you are trying to go to places that only sustain economic, I don't know, economic measures, and you're trying to look out for green options. Do you do that consciously, or do you just go to whichever is more convenient?
To be honest, it's tough to do that.
Hmm.
And if I talk about my travel plans, whenever I travel, I hardly even think about all these things because the main thing is the budget. And even if in that budget we are able to cover some part of our country, so after reaching there, no matter what kind of resources are available to us, we tend to accept that. So this is the reality of my life till now. So I would not post anything on this.
Hmm.
But
Right.
given the opportunity, if I ever become or if I ever be in that situation where I can opt for such things, I will definitely do that.
Right. Makes sense. Also, it takes a lot of money, I think, something that people don't talk about. Like, pocket friendly options are generally not very sustainable, right? And those
Right,
become more convenient for us to choose.
definitely.
So yeah, that's a good point that you raised over there. Okay, so those were the things that I wanted to talk about with you today, and I think you did a fantastic job over there discussing certain different things, bringing a lot of different type points to the table. Grammatically, you don't make mistakes as such. I've always kind of reiterated that you're a very good speaker, and I don't really have anything else to add to that. But if you have any question, you can definitely ask.
Oh, nothing in particular from my side.
Mhm.
Just that I would like to get answer from your side about environmental.
About this.
Yeah. If
Difficult. It's
you
also
have to
difficult for
think
me.
about what kind of changes do we require, what would you say?
Think I also am not very aware of the environmental policies now that I think about that. But I think there should be some like regulation on the pollution part definitely, because the last I read, the pollution is quite sky high in India, at least with the factories, with new factories coming up, and air pollution, soil pollution. Even with agriculture, there's a lot of soil pollution and a lot of water pollution that goes in there. So maybe that is something that we have to look on. Maybe make new policies about about regulating the pollution in areas like this. But having said that, I don't know what kinds of regulations are there already. So that is something that maybe there are regulations, people don't follow them. If not, then there should be legal measures taken to make sure that our earth or our land is given a first priority. And I think there's a lot of protest going on in Ladakh these days as well about climate change. I have to probably read up a little on that, and probably something can be done with regards to Ladakh and the mountainous regions, and listening to activists, specifically the climate activists, and see what they have to say, and then maybe including some of their points and the policies. That would be my first priority, probably. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that was that. Thank you so much for joining today. Hope to see you soon, and then we'll talk some more.
See you. See you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Have a nice
You
time.
too. Thank
Then
you. Have a good day.
bye
Bye.
for now.
Bye. Bye.